After the Second World War, the men who were returning from that war took up jobs in a growing economy. And women who had worked in the munitions and the arms factories continued to seek employment outside the home. In a small town in North Carolina, that prosperity came through in tobacco farming or mill work or in new businesses. In one household, the husband worked in the home building business, while the wife opened a dressmaking shop. Having 3 children, they also needed help in the home, especially while they were working. They hired a woman as a housekeeper, a cook, and a nanny. Her name was Bee. This is the 29th Sunday in Ordinary Time. The readings today come from Isaiah, Paul's letter to the Hebrews, and the gospel account of Mark. The theme that runs through these readings centers around service. In the first reading today, we hear a portion of Isaiah's prophecy of the suffering servant. Now, Isaiah portrays the servant as one who accepts the burdens that God places on him or her. Because of this servant's willingness to give up his or her life for the servants of God, many persons will be redeemed, made whole, and acceptable to God. Bee and her husband could not have children. She went through a time of grieving, and then she decided that she could help by helping another family. Bee was always in the kitchen when the children came downstairs in the morning. She greeted them as she prepared their breakfast, and while they ate, she would make their school lunches. After breakfast, each child was inspected to ensure that they were dressed to her expectations, and then Bee and the children walked to the school that was some blocks from the house. In the afternoon, when school let out, the children knew that Bee would be sitting on the bench under the maple tree waiting for them. In the second reading, the author writes to the Hebrews that we share a common experience of humanity with Jesus. And because of that familiarity, Jesus understands our weaknesses and our failures and is willing to extend his mercy to everyone who seeks his favor. The children wanted Bee's approval, and Bee had standards. They knew how she expected them to behave in public. She taught them to be polite and the etiquette of children in the presence of adults. She insisted that they respect their parents' wishes. She taught them manners at the table and consideration for other children. And although Bee could be stern, she always ended any correction with encouragement. The children knew that she cared for them and that she loved them. In the gospel today, James and John are seeking places of favor with Jesus, and Jesus grants their desire to follow the path that he is following. But Jesus does not offer them places of honor. Rather, Jesus tells the apostles that they will only grow in stature before God through the service that they perform for others. Bee worked for the family until the children grew up, left home for college and jobs. The children that she helped to raise always remembered her on holidays. They called her when they needed to speak to somebody they could trust. 2 of the grown children left the area for their careers. 1 child stayed in the same town, fell in love, and was married. when their first child arrived, the new parents called B. Today, as we consider service in the life of the church in our community, the entire Catholic world is beginning the 3-year process which will culminate in the 18th General Assembly Synod of Bishops in Rome. The theme of the Synod is communion, participation, and mission. This parish is uniquely situated to take advantage of this time of preparation in a manner that will make us stronger, bolder, and increasingly effective as we proclaim the gospel to our community through our life of service. We see already the action and the result of service here in many ways. We have hospitality. We have the people who come each week to maintain this building. There are knitters who create shawls to embrace others in love and in prayer. There are volunteers who assure that families have food, that Christmas and Easter are times of plenty. We have people who lead Bible studies, train new ministers, and visit the sick. There are people who greet, who welcome, and serve at Mass. And there are many, many others who serve in this community. In every one of our ministries, the people who are involved are examples of service to others. B was the suffering servant who served children who were not her own. She understood their weaknesses and strengths, and because she grew with them, she forgave their mistakes, corrected them gently, and encouraged them to try again. B didn't seek special recognition for herself or for her work. She found satisfaction in the growth and the success of the children. As a result of her effort, she was remembered and valued by the children that she had helped to raise. And she was invited back to help with the next generation. We too can reflect this life of service in the next 3 years of preparation for the Synod, in the time that we are welcoming, learning about, and connecting with our new pastor, in the time that we continue to form and implement a vision and a mission for this parish. Each bit of growth, each act of service by individual parish members and ministries will spread the good news of Jesus Christ in word and in deed.